Kurt, Kate, that's a very poetic, rhythmic thing to say, Kurt, Kate, but you're both doing well today?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll throw the first question here at Kurt. Now, Kurt, this is not the first iconic movie that you've helped reboot or make happen again. Did you know that this direction was going to be happening in your career where people would go, hey, we need this guy to keep all these iconic things iconic?
Well, no, and I'm not sure I always do. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the fact of the matter is, I also write a lot of spec. I create my own movies too, like Equilibrium or Law Abiding Citizen or Salt. But today, unfortunately, we live in a place where they don't make original movies. I'm very fortunate. I've got a movie called The Beekeeper with David Ayer coming out this year, but she's original. But for the most part, they just want to make remakes, sequels. Something based on a comic book. It's really, really sad state of affairs. So it's less about, them saying, get this guy to do it. It's like, that's what the work is out there. And, you have to go after it if you want to keep making movies. So that's really kind of the truth, the dirty truth behind it all. But although I want to say, Point Break and Total Recall were two of my favorite movies of all time. And they still are the originals, And I said to myself, listen, they were making them. They were going to make them. And I was like, okay, well, if somebody's going to F it up, it might as well be me.
We are big Johnny Utah people in this household, so we'll talk more about that in a bit. But Kate, how did you wind up in this film? Did you know Kurt, or was it a traditional casting situation?
It was the traditional casting situation. I got the audition in, I think, December of 2019, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a couple auditions. It was untitled at the time, so I didn't really know what it was. And and then I think in January of 2020, before we started filming, I met Kurt in New York, and there was like a final audition, and we went through some scenes that were just ad-lib. They weren't written, and we got to play around with how Eden would react to that, and it kind of went from there.
Wow. So once you got the film, did you go heavy into research and go, I need to see the original and read everything?
No, kind of the opposite, honestly. My horror pop culture is not, very large. So I was 11 at the time too.
Right.
So I didn't quite know what Children of the Corn was. I hadn't seen the movie. My parents had to explain it to me. I'm going to watch the movie now. I promise. But I feel like, it was better for me to not watch the movie because Kurt's film. It isn't like a remake of the movie. It's like it's an adaptation.
It's a prequel in many senses.
Yeah. So it's not like I didn't want to have this like looming pressure of like, oh, this entire franchise I have to like represent right now. It was more fun to, be able to, with all respect to the original franchise, it was really fun to be able to, create my own character.
One thing I don't know if a lot of people realize is, they say, well, where's Malachi? Well, Malachi doesn't live in this town, because if people realize the original town is called Gateland. In this movie, it's Rylston, which is also in Nebraska. But she says at one point, other kids in other towns are going to see this, and they're going to take their towns too. And that's why, theoretically, then what happened in Rylston is what set off the fuse in neighboring Gateland as well.
I've had the pleasure of interviewing the real life Malachi Courtney Gaines, who's also a great singer-songwriter as well. Do you know him, Kurt, or what kind of research did you do for this?
Not at all. Listen, I know we're going to be doing our own thing. The movies were the movies. I went back to the book, to the original short story. That's where everything is. It's King in his usual way of creating things that are really universal and can be told in a number of different ways and still resonate. So it was really more about the source material for me than the all these movies that have been made in between.
Wow. So was it open-ended from Stephen King's camp about how you helped adapt the story?
I never got to speak to Stephen King. He's a busy guy. I hopefully he's writing. I mean, I don't know, because clearly he writes faster than any of us can actually read.
Yeah.
So, I've yet to speak to Stephen King. Look, I'll be honest, I don't think he gets involved in all these Children of the Corn movies. Let's be realistic. Like Children of the Corn 5 Stephen King has got better things to do, I think, than to weigh in on God knows what that is, the reaping, or, sure, whatever these things are called.
I think the first book or two that they adapt, you're on the set every day. You've got those, what do they call those headphones? Maybe you know, Kate, the people when they want to pretend like they're doing something on the set and they're just watching it on the chair. Is there?
We call them cans. We just call them cans.
Yeah, I figure you have the cans, the first two movies that you have adapted, and then maybe the third, fourth, fifth. Nah.
Yeah, something like that.
Exactly. So, Kate, back to you here. What's next for you? Are you allowed to say what you have coming out after Children of the Corn?
I am. A couple things. So last summer, I was very excited to be part of this movie. It's called Out of My Mind, which is based on the book Out of My Mind. And it's about a young girl who has cerebral palsy. It's an awesome story, and I actually read it when I was in school, so I was like, oh, this is so cool. And I think that's going to come out on Disney Plus, I believe, sometime this year. And also, I was in a couple episodes of season 2 of the TV series Reacher. So
there's that, and the people who crawl around your Instagram see you dressed as a football player here. They see you playing the piano. So it seems like you have a lot of interests outside of, TV and stuff.
She's a black belt in Taekwondo.
Really?
I do, yeah.
Which style of Taekwondo?
There's different styles. Oh, now I'm
Canadian TKD.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very impressed to hear all that. And Kurt, throwing that same question at you, are you allowed to say what's next? For example, is there an Encino Man reboot coming out?
Yeah, oh my God, it's so funny. Yeah, I've got Pauly Shore and me are going to do it. I've got The Beekeeper, which I mentioned before, David Ayer and Jason Statham, and we finished shooting that in Thanksgiving. That's coming out later this year. I'm excited about that. I've got Expendables 4 coming out later this year. And in the meantime, literally right as we speak, I'm writing a screenplay live online, so every day upload every word written, for people who are really masochists and want to know how screenplays get written from a blank page to finishing, and then, going on and selling it, and hopefully getting it made, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, one question related to Expendables 4, and then I'll let you both go. And that's, do you know if Sylvester Stallone is in any way aware of Kyle Dunnigan's podcast where he's pretending to be Sylvester Stallone?
I do not know that. I don't.
Are you aware of it?
No, listen, I'm not. Should I be?
After this interview, go on YouTube and check out Kyle Dunnigan pretending to be Sylvester.
That's a hilarious idea, though. I'm sure someone's doing it for Arnold as well.
Arnold does appear in some of the episodes as well.
Yeah. I will check that out. It sounds hilarious.
Well, bottom line is thank you both for your time, and I'm looking forward to the next projects from both of you in the very near future. Congratulations on keeping the legacy of Children of the Corn alive and well.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Paltrocast.